Welcome back to The Lead, and this just into CNN. Donald Trump, in a new statement just released, is calling for, let me be clear about this, the barring of all Muslims from entering the United States. I want to bring in CNN's Dana Bash. Dana, what did he say in this statement, and how significant is this?
Well, it's pretty significant and it's pretty extraordinary. First of all, he says that there should be a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what is going on. He then goes on to cite a Pew Research Center poll, which he says shows that 25% of those polled agreed that violence against Americans in the U.S. was justified when it comes to a global jihad. And then he goes on to say this. He goes on to say, it is obvious to anybody the hatred is beyond comprehension. Where this hatred comes from and why we will have to determine. Until we are able to determine and understand this problem and the dangerous threat it poses, our country cannot be the victims of horrendous attacks by people that believe only in jihad.
This, as you say, you put the word on it, it's an extraordinary statement. CNN will be doing further reporting on this because the polling saying that 1 in 4 Muslims supports violence against the U.S. certainly questionable. Thanks, Dana, for giving us the first read on this. Of course, Trump's statement is a reaction to last week's terror attack in San Bernardino, the deadliest in the United States since 9/11. Today we have new details.
This is James Hendricks with the Black Sheep Reports, and I just got done watching that Donald Trump's video where he talks about banning all Muslims. You know, what happened to freedom of religion? Isn't that what the propaganda in our schools and media teaches us? That we're just so star-spangled awesome because we have freedom of speech and freedom of religion. But, you know, the terrorists, they always say the terrorists hate us for our freedom, right? They're just trying to take our freedom away. Well, shit, it looks like they won then, because let's take a look at all the so-called freedoms that we lost. We have the NSA spying, which spies on its citizens. So much for the Fourth Amendment, which protects Americans from unreasonable searches and seizures of their papers, houses, and their persons. Now, we have laws that was passed all in the name of stopping terrorism. That goes against our rights as citizens. The NDAA empowers the armed forces to engage in civilian law enforcement and to selectively suspend due process and as well as all other rights guaranteed by the 5th and the 6th Amendment to the United States Constitution for terror suspects apprehended on U.S. soil. So under the NDAA, the government can lock you up without trial or jury or due process. They can refuse to let you even see a lawyer, all in the name of stopping terrorism. Now, what about freedom of speech? Freedom of speech is out of the question. You know, the government took that away from us also. If you go to protest some corporations or some corruption that's going on in your state, well, they're going to give you a little area away from anyone who can actually see you, and they call that a free speech zone. In other words, you have the right to say what you want, but you better not pass that line where the people can actually see you, or you're in shitload of trouble. Now, Donald Trump, you want to say Muslims are to blame, and we need to ban all Muslims. Well, with all due respect, Muslims are not the one creating the police state who are murdering U.S. American citizens at a crazy rate. Muslims aren't the ones who are passing laws like the NDAA and the Patriot Act that is taking freedoms away from American citizens. Muslims are not the ones to blame when it comes to the government taking our right to free speech. Now, of course, ISIS is bad, and then the radicals like Al-Nusra and Boko Haram, they need to be stopped. But you cannot blame a whole religion for the act of few. I'll end with a quote from Benjamin Franklin that says, "He who would trade liberty for some temporary security deserves neither liberty nor security." This is James Hendricks with the Black Sheep Report. Subscribe if you're new. Links are below. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook. Our page is Media on 9/11. Thank you.